What's going on, everybody? Uh, Hope all is well on this Wednesday. Looking forward to this. Turn the levels up. How we doing? Let me know if y'all can hear me. Put a little test in the chat. See how everything is going. Talk to me. Where we tapping in from? Where we tapping in from? Okay, the chat is working. Waiting for my guy. This is gonna be a nice show. I'm excited about this. How we doing today? There we go. Salute. Mark Johnson, newest member of the Amityville Hall of Fame. Salute to you, sir. Who else do we got on here? I see Ryan Creighton, legend himself. Kevin Hampton, okay. I think we got our guy on here. Let's go ahead and invite him on. Perfect. How you doing, Mr. Carlton Hurdle? Hope all is well on your end. Okay. Kev, I just invited you. Hit that, click that button for me. There we go. How we doing today, sir?
What's going on, Tristan? How are you?
I'm doing great. Can you hear me?
I can. Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear, loud and clear.
Good.
How we doing today?
All right. Things are good, man. It's good to see you.
Likewise, likewise. I appreciate you taking time out for this. This is going to be great.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it.
Likewise, likewise, likewise. Your name rings out, so this is going to be quite an honor here.
All right. Do it, man. Let's do it.
Let's do it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce the show.
Okay.
And then I'm going to have you introduce yourself as well as your school and your graduation year, and then we're going to dive into a nice conversation. Sound good?
Sounds good.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Tapping with Tristan. We have a Facebook Live edition, Long Island Basketball History edition, and I'm truly excited to share this platform with this gentleman. Please go ahead and introduce yourself.
You froze for a second there.
All right, I'm at the point where you can introduce yourself. Sorry about that.
Okay. Sounds good. Hey, this is Kevin Hamilton, North Babylon High School, 1976, back in the glory days. So very happy to be here with you today.
Thank you so much. Your name rings out, man, and you've been a pillar for Long Island basketball. So what we want to do here tonight is celebrate you, give you your flowers, and then also hear your backstory. And then you could drop some gems to the youth as well.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
Let's take us back to the early days. When did we start getting involved with sports, and paint the picture for us in those like elementary years?
So, to go back, I'll just tell you, first of all, I've been a basketball junkie since I can remember. For me, it goes way back before I actually started playing.
Okay.
I remember, watching some of the great North Babylon teams back in the 60s, with my oldest brother, Bob, rest in peace, playing. Names like, Hamilton, Gabriel, Loth, all sorts of Daly, guys out there that, really put North Babylon on the map way back in the days. So I was a junkie from those days, really wanted to understand what it was all about. Fast forward, I had an opportunity to watch, I believe they were the first North Babylon team to win a Suffolk County championship. Guys like Ray Brown,
Okay.
Billy Morris, Wallace Flythe. You remember that name?
I do know they Flythe name, yes.
That's right, relative of current player on Amityville. Lonnie Shockley, and I'm certain I'm missing some other. Oh yeah, Jerry Hartz. How can you miss Jerry Hartz? A great player for North Babylon. And back in those days, a lot of those guys used to kick me off the basketball courts down at Belmont Lake Junior High School.
Okay.
I'd go down and try to get some run, and they'd say, youngster, get off the floor. And I just kept coming back and coming back. And eventually they needed somebody to play one day, and they gave me a chance to play. Um, so I was honored to follow it from an early start, really get into wanting to be one of those guys back in the days. And then, North Babylon's history really helps produce, great players. I think about going from watching to playing,
Yep.
being able to play varsity as a sophomore in
Yep.
high school, playing with great players during my time. Obviously everybody knows Stan Wilcox.
We know some of these heavy hitters. Let's pause that one. We're going to pause that one because y'all had a nice run in there. So
Oh
we're
yeah.
going to pause that section right there. Let's talk about your first time that you was in a basketball uniform, right? Because you mentioned that you was looking up to these older players that was coming from the neighborhood, doing big things, and you out there at the park wanting to get on, and then you finally get on. What was it like when you had your first? What is your memory of having your first uniform on, and what was that like?
Yeah, so my first uniform was actually in junior high school, what we call junior high
Yeah,
school,
let's talk about it.
down in Belmont Lake. Coach Mahoney, Brian Mahoney,
Okay.
oh, was just a really good guy. Had after school sessions for kids that wanted to stay and play some basketball, play some soccer, run around the track, do something. And he saw me and others, playing basketball, really into it, and started to spend quite a bit of time with us prior to playing in junior high school with basketball. So my first uniform was a junior high school uniform.
Okay.
Uh, he knew at that point that I was going to be a decent player,
Okay.
because there's one thing I could always do from the days of watching the older players and running on the court during timeouts. I could always shoot the basketball. So
Hey,
he saw me shooting the basketball and he said, "Hey, young fella, I think we have something here." So he was very kind to me, very generous, and spent a lot of time. And my first uniform was back in those days. So that's my first recollection of being on a team.
that's awesome. Now, was it basketball only, or was you playing a multitude of sports? Because I know that in going back in those days, you're playing sports with the seasons. At least with the neighborhood guys. Was that something that was part of your story, or it was just basketball only?
Well, first it was basketball only.
Okay.
And then when I first of all, let me back up for a second.
Okay.
Basketball only for me because, as I mentioned, I was a junkie.
You was a
I
junkie.
spent. I'm sorry.
I said you was a junkie.
Yeah, I mean, that's all I wanted to do. You
Okay.
know, we had a basket in our backyard in North Babylon, dirt, no cement, no nothing like that, just
Okay.
dirt. And I remember playing a lot of imaginary one-on-ones against the great players out there. Clyde, Earl of Pearl, Nate Archibald.
Right.
And I'm happy to say I'm undefeated. I never lost to them in my
Cooking
backyard.
those and cooking those imaginary guys. The three, two,
And
one hit the jump shot.
that's right. But I that really gave me the motivation to try to be the best basketball player I could. But a funny thing happened, following my brothers,
Okay.
both my brother Bob and my brother Steve.
Okay.
Um, Bob was an all-around athlete. He was probably the best athlete in our family, and in my opinion, the best athlete in North Babylon history.
Okay.
He was a great football player. He was a great basketball player, obviously, and he ran track. I think he had the Suffolk County or Long Island record in the 110 high hurdles.
Wow.
So following him, and then following my brother Steve, who was strictly track, ended up going to Howard University, and his claim to fame was he actually was an alternate on one of the Olympic teams.
Wow.
So, had
That's so
somebody
good.
gotten hurt, he would have had the opportunity to step in and run in the Olympics. So following all that,
Wow.
uh, and just the competitive nature of my family, not 9 siblings,
Nine siblings. Okay, we got to talk about this. Okay, so
Yeah.
how many boys and how many girls and what's going on in that household? Because yeah, that's going to be able. You already mentioned a couple of these guys as athletes, big time athletes. What was that like?
Well, first of all, I was right in the middle. So there's five boys, four girls.
Right in
Um,
the
very competitive household.
middle.
Um, I wouldn't come late to dinner if I were you. You know, it would be certainly an adventure. It was a pecking order, so the oldest had the rights to the food first.
Okay,
Uh, but we were very very tight family. You
that's awesome.
know, my mother and father were just great with us.
That's awesome.
Um, and we became known in North Babylon as you know, a family of really good athletes and a family of respectable people. So
That's awesome.
I think that really set the stage for things for me.
That's awesome. Let's segue into the middle school, man. You actually got a uniform on, right? You mentioned Coach Brian Mahoney. Take us through those middle school years. And I do know that you did cross over into another sport. Take us through this middle school and walk us down that, I would say, seventh, eighth grade.
So seventh and eighth grade for me was just great. I really enjoyed the school. It wasn't too far from my house, Belmont Lake, and the best part of it all was, you know, I was able to walk back and forth to school. So after school was over, I spent quite a bit of time and people from North Babylon will know what I'm about to say, on those cement courts in the back of the school. Uh,
Okay.
my father gave me a basketball, so I brought it everywhere with me. Sometimes I carried the ball more than my books, but just basically, it was a really, really good time. Got to know a lot of people, and when you have a coach like Coach Mahoney that takes an interest in you, it really gives you an opportunity to start to figure out who you are and who you want to be. So I figured out pretty quickly I wanted to play basketball. I had some guidance in doing it. I spent a lot of time doing it. One thing I will say about school, my mother and father did not play when it came to that. You know, there there was no basketball, no staying after school, none of that stuff. If I wasn't focused on what I had to do academically, so that was a good foundation for things to come in the future.
That's excellent. So they recognize the value in balancing the books and the school. I mean, and the sport. There's no sport without you doing your thing in the classroom first.
No, absolutely, no doubt, no doubt.
So how was you as a player at that age? You say you could shoot the ball, but overall, man, was you a productive player at this
So,
time?
as a player, as a player back in those days, I thought I was really good.
Okay.
But there were some players that helped me understand work, you know, makes you really good. Um, you know, and some of those same people became my teammates as we moved up the ladder. You know, Russell Lewis and people like that.
Okay.
Uh, Rick Pagatti, a lot of guys in the neighborhood right around from the school. So we became workers, if you ask me. We
Okay.
became guys that wanted to play varsity, that wanted to be one of those legendary North Babylon players. Um, so we put a lot of work in. By eighth grade, I knew that I had an opportunity to potentially play varsity as a ninth grader.
Okay.
Um, but that was not going to happen. My father did not want that to happen. Um, Unfortunately for my older brother, you know, he played varsity basketball at a very young age, a year too soon, and had to sit out his senior year in high school, which was, you know, devastating.
Oh, it
Um,
was a rule.
there was a rule back in those days, correct?
What's to clarify this rule for us?
So you, I believe the rule was you were allowed to play 4 years of high school. However, when my family moved from Harlem out to Long Island,
Okay.
um, we spent a year out in Bellport Patchogue area,
Okay.
and as an eighth grader, my brother played on varsity, so
Oh, but I counted against him.
it counted against him, and we didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't know the rule.
No, we did not know that.
So that
And
kind of hurts you because your dad was like, we don't want to go through that, even though that wouldn't have impacted you if you would have played ninth because you would have been able to play all four.
he wasn't going to take any chances.
I don't
So
know. We're not taking the chances, so we're going to be rather be safe than sorry.
that's right. That's
Wow.
right.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
But
You mentioned that you was a worker, right? You have a bunch of workers. How were you guys working? Is there anybody training you guys? Are they overseeing you guys? What's your definition of work, and how was y'all putting in this work?
so we would, unlike a lot of what I see today, we spent a lot of times outdoors playing basketball, just being around each other.
Hmm.
We go to different parks. You had obviously Belmont Lake, like I mentioned. You had Phelps Lane. We'd even venture to other parts of like Babylon Park. There was a park down in Main Street in Babylon, I believe.
Okay.
Um, I think there was Wolf Hill Park in Huntington or something like that.
Yeah.
Uh, so we go places together and we play, and then we come back and figure out who we thought the competition was, and certainly want to be better than everybody we played against.
That's amazing. That's amazing because you guys are recognizing that at an early age. Okay. So how did the team do when you was in uniform, seventh and eighth grade? You said that, hey, I think we could be pretty good. Was there production on the court enough to say that to really back that up? And then we'll slide into high school.
So the best I can recollect is I know we played other middle schools, junior high schools, something to
Hmm.
that. Um, don't know about wins and losses, but I do know when people start to develop a reputation. And I knew, and some of my other future teammates knew, we started getting a little bit of a rep. You
Okay.
know, sometimes coming down to those same courts where we couldn't get on with some of the older guys,
Right.
all of a sudden we were getting on.
Okay.
And that was a really good feeling to know that people are starting to respect you for what you do.
It's a rite of passage when you're able to get on that A court. Yeah, when you're able to
Oh
get on
yeah.
that A court and you don't got to really beg or sub for somebody that got hurt or got to leave, where they're actually looking for you in the parking lot. That's a rite of passage. So hats off to you guys and being able to even go and go and experiment outside of your own area. Salute to your parents for allowing you guys to do that because that is a great way to hone your skills. So salute to you guys for creating that kind of infrastructure back then. Let's slide into this ninth grade year. What does that look like?
Uh, Ninth grade was solid, and again, um, my
Are you at the high school or are you
no,
still
that
in
I
middle
was
school?
still
Because and back in those
high
times.
school back at that point. Um,
Okay.
so I'm sorry.
You still and as a ninth grader, it was still a part of the junior high, correct?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay. Okay.
It's the best I can remember.
Yep.
Because when I went to high school, I know I played varsity as a 10th grader,
Okay.
but ninth grade, I don't believe we were allowed to do that at that point.
So you was playing JV or they just had a freshman team?
No, there was no. I didn't play JV. No, I think we still played. I don't know exactly what we played,
Yeah, he was
but
like, I was
but
in a uniform at the high school, and that's all I quite remember.
yeah, I don't remember much. Let me think about that one. That's a good question.
Yeah, we could
Uh,
come back to that if you catch wind of that. When did this other sport get involved? Right, he was a pretty good football player. When did that come into play?
that came into play in high school.
What
As a
year?
matter of fact, a lot of the basketball players played football.
Okay.
Um, we weren't into weightlifting and all that kind of stuff that's
Right.
very prevalent today.
Right.
Um, so a few people felt like we need to toughen up a little bit. Yeah, we had talent, but can we take a beating and be able to handle the physical part of things?
Right. Right.
Um, so most of us played football. I know Russell Lewis did, Roger Cyrus did, I believe Stan did for a year or two. Um, who else? Bobby Myers. A bunch of the basketball players played football. And you know what? I ended up liking it.
You
Um,
did.
yeah, it was a lot of fun. Um, I believe the first position I played was wide receiver. So you think about having a 6'3" guy on the wing, expecting to get some passes. The only problem with that was North Babylon was a wishbone
To
program. So,
this day, they giving them guys 30, 40 carries. You out there blocking like crazy.
yeah, yeah. So, you didn't get a lot of
Did they have you out there in a 3-point stance?
catch.
Playing receiver out there
Yeah, I mean,
in a 3-point stance.
we, we did all the football stuff, running, jumping over each other, rolling, all
Hmm.
that kind of stuff. Um, Running out for passes, blocking. But then, kind of transitioned more to a defensive player,
Okay,
uh, and enjoyed that because that was, playing free safety and the corners and that kind of stuff. That was more like, go find the ball and jump in the air and get it, you know.
absolutely,
And
absolutely.
that was a lot of fun. And actually, over the years, I became pretty good at that. So, and then, I think it was junior year, they asked me to give quarterback a shot. So
Oh,
I was a backup quarterback for quite a bit with one of the Manning brothers, Pat Manning, rest in peace,
okay.
and learned a lot from the position. Enjoyed that as well. I didn't mind the contact, so that was a lot of fun.
I mean, you
And
didn't mind the contact, so this was good for you because now you're a dual sport guy, right? Let's. Who's training you? Is anybody training you guys? I mean, what we're talking about in the '70s. Was there any type of like real trainer? I mean, or you just guys just kind of figuring it out on the playground amongst yourselves?
we really didn't have personal trainers back in those days.
Right,
The closest thing to personal trainers was our parents,
right.
take, taking us around and giving us a critique after they watch us play, in the summer league and stuff like that. Um, our team and North Babylon in general is a very tight knit community.
Okay.
So we were very good with working each other very hard
Yup.
and and giving each other a sense of honesty about what you can do to be a better player.
Some
So
accountability.
yeah, no, 100% accountability. 100.
Accountability. Like we can do something individually, obviously, but collectively we can be pretty special. And you have all of the parents that are forming alliances, and you guys bonding, but also holding each other accountable. That's very special. Let's talk about the first year you put the varsity uniform on. You was once one of the young kids that was watching this and going down to Belmont Lake Park and watching these guys. You finally got on the court and you're moving and grooving with the middle schoolers, but now you are on the varsity team. What was that feeling like?
Yeah, so sophomore year, as a varsity player, I started on varsity. I had some very, very good mentors on that team. A gentleman by the name of John Alston.
Okay,
Uh, he was a 6'7" center. Nat Cummings, he was our Charles Oakley back in the days.
okay.
He should have played football. He would have beat people up.
You
But
said Charles Oakley. We already know what that is. That's a physical player
yeah,
right there. So football might be right up his alley for sure.
yeah. And I was embraced by some of the people I competed against at the guard position. Gary Patty is a name that comes to my mind. So there was a bunch of support on varsity. I actually had a very good sophomore year in varsity. I believe I averaged 10 or more points a game as a youngster,
Yeah.
and so it was a lot of fun, man. I really enjoyed it, and I couldn't wait to suit up for those games and run out there with the older guys and just play.
And just play and just kind of just be a kid. Now, who's coaching this team? Is this Mahoney still, or is a different coach?
No, no, the varsity coach is the legendary Mike Cavalieri.
There you go. Let's talk about it a little bit.
Yeah, Coach Cav, you know, the best way to describe him, he's a former player at St. Bonaventure. Um, Came up in the ranks with some of the great coaches on Long Island. And I'm going to mention a few of them because I think it's important to give them their flowers as
Yeah,
well.
give me their flowers and
Everybody,
put in that context, please.
yeah, everybody knows Stan Kellner, Marty Rigger from Brentwood. You have Jerry Smith from West Islip. I mean, he was a great coach. He made things very difficult for North Babylon when we played against them. Um, you had the Coach Klauser, I think his name is, from Sachem. You certainly had Roy Coble from Babylon.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you had the great Ed Petrie out in East Hampton. I mean, there was a lot of great coaching
Yeah.
back in those days. But I'll tell you, Coach Cavalieri, he was the best. You know, 6'6", 6'7", big guy
Okay.
who hardly raised his voice,
Okay.
but you knew what he wanted you to do.
He had a
He,
presence.
oh my God, he was very clear
Yep.
on what was important to him. You know, coachability as a player was important, hard work was important, and being a good teammate. So that's why I think we did as well as we did, because we had a really solid leader like him.
I think that's so valid. And I think that to an extent, especially in high school, the players to some degree take on the personality or somewhat of the coach, at least some form of philosophy. And when there's a respect factor there, sometimes, especially back then, there was a fear factor. And you had coaches that was fearing guys in there. But,
That's right.
but yeah, but do you have some that actually there's a relationship to where there's a respect factor? You really get the best out of the players. What would you say the style of play for those that don't know? Because you guys ring out in the '70s, North Babylon, and obviously through the '80s as well. What was you guys' style of play? Was y'all an up-tempo team, and was y'all half court? What would you say your style of play is going through your high school ranks? But let's continue with the sophomore year, and then we'll slide into the junior year.
So sophomore year, our record wasn't great, but we were near the top of the league. And our play was we tried to throw the ball a little bit inside to our bigs, because we had a couple of bigs that were very
Right.
good. And he really looked for us to try to have a presence inside.
Okay.
I would say we were more a defensive team than an offensive team.
Right.
Um, he would take me out of the game sometimes because I totally forgot, defense was the focus, and I was
Letting
putting
the
him up
you
a
try to
little
let
bit.
the gun go.
Yeah, I was letting it go a little bit. Um, but he became to know me pretty well, and my teammates became to know me pretty well. So I got some leadership approval to play the way I could play. But our style back then was, heavy defense, half court approach. We ran the same 3-2 that, I know Carlton and everybody else watching this is going to laugh at. But it was very effective.
Very effective.
In my opinion, it was really a way to ensure that most, if not all, players on the team had a presence.
Got you. Got
Yeah,
you.
yeah. So it was 3-2, half court. I don't know if we pressed a lot, but came down, tried to look inside.
Yeah,
And
inside out game.
yeah, exactly,
And
exactly.
if it come your way, you letting the gun go. You already know.
Yeah, yeah. I had I had a hearing problem when it came to that.
No, I didn't mean the shot I didn't like. So that's what I do. Y'all seen me out there on the park when I was young. This is what I do.
That's right. That's right.
So let's talk about junior year. Let's talk about junior year. Yeah, you're squarely doing the football and basketball thing, right? You football, you're the backup quarterback, right? But you're playing deep. You're playing free safety.
That's correct. That's correct. I had a pretty decent football career going.
Yes, you did.
It was really more fun than anything else, to believe it or not.
I
Uh,
agree. I believe you.
my focus 100% was basketball. And then when the reinforcements came, I'll just call them that for right now. Um, Junior year, I mean, we had the makings of a very, very solid program. You know, Stan, Roger, Carlton, all these guys showing up, and man, they could play. So
We're showing up.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's tough to, your first year as a high school basketball player,
Yes,
but these guys are ready. It
they
was,
were ready to go.
oh, they were
Now,
ready to
are
go.
these guys in your grade? Or are they upperclassmen? I mean, they're seniors, and you was a junior.
No, no. Stan Wilcox, Carlton Hurdle, Roger Cyrus, Rick Pagatti, They were a year behind me.
Ooh. So you're like, hold on a second. We got some young
Yeah.
guys, some young guns. I know I can get right. We got something special going on here. Did y'all start to recognize this?
Yeah, let me tell you, it started, in my opinion, with Summer League.
Let's
You
talk
know,
about that. Let's talk about Summer League, where we're playing at, and let's go ahead and give a little bit about that.
Smithtown Summer League was the premier summer league back in those days because you got to
Yeah,
see teams from everywhere.
I'm hearing this.
I'll talk about Smithtown in a second. Phelps Lane became a very good summer tournament place to play.
Okay.
I know we used to go out to Roosevelt. I think it's Centennial Park or one of those parks out there. And
Okay.
yeah, we
Now,
would
let me ask you this, okay. Was you doing this as a high school, or you guys was doing this as a community type thing, or this was spearheaded by Coach Cab? Like, we're gonna put our team, and y'all gonna go to Roosevelt and play.
So most of that we actually did on our own.
Yeah.
Smithtown was certainly Coach Cavalieri's presence was, telling us what to do there, and others. I forget the other ones. I know Smithtown was most prevalent.
Yes.
And I got to tell you, first of all, there was no coaching back in those days. So your high school coach could not be your coach during the summer league.
No, they can't. I think that was still a rule. Sometimes they'll be sitting in the crowd and give you the little
That's
but you
right.
had. So who was coaching you guys?
Uh, Myself and Russell Lewis.
So you
and
was a
then
player
then
coach.
and then most of the time it was coached by committee. You know, when when
Okay.
Stan when Stan and Roger and Carlton had something to say, guess what? We all listened, man. We were
Uh,
in this thing together.
Now let me
So
ask you a question. Was that going along for all of the teams, kind of coaching amongst themselves, or you guys just happened to go that way? Or they had like a assistant or a young, somebody else coaching them, or it was really just players coaching each other in the summer league?
that's a good question. Not
That-
sure if other teams had
Okay,
that
that's
that
fair.
level of
I just
support.
think that's very fascinating because now like there's another level of accountability that comes with it. Because if you have one guy, that can ruin everything if they're not falling in line and you don't have that adult presence. But I definitely can see that being really, really impactful going into the season. So go ahead, continue your story. Sorry about that.
No, that's okay. Yeah, and you know what? We enjoyed that.
Wow.
You talk about accountability. We really held each other accountable. We really became close.
Yeah,
It was like the traveling caravan. Certain parents would pile kids into their cars, and we travel there together.
this is amazing.
So we really got along. Yeah, we really got along.
That's amazing. So you guys are playing in multiple tournaments in the summertime, and y'all starting to bond and gel and seeing the the strengths of each other and what guys which y'all need to work on long before y'all even get on the court at high school.
Yeah,
Wow.
absolutely. And the best part, in my opinion, about that is you really get to know each other's strengths
Yes.
and weaknesses, but
Absolutely.
in this case, strengths,
Yep.
because we were really good. I mean, our summers we won a bunch of tournaments that people were like, who are these guys? And that's because we cared about each other, let me tell you, there was no problem with you know calling each other out every once in a while.
That's
So,
beautiful.
so in my opinion, it was just a very, very healthy way to get started as a program prior to my junior and most of their sophomore years.
This is a coach's dream. Yeah, we got guys that are holding each other accountable. It makes my job a lot easier. Now Now you have a lot of extensions on the court of him. So now a lot higher basketball IQ, a lot more camaraderie, which usually leads to a lot more production. So let's talk about the junior year.
Yeah, junior year was very solid. I believe we were at the top of what's called Division One or League One or whatever it was back in those days,
Yeah.
and we had some very formidable competition. Obviously, Sachem with all their 6'9" plus guys on
Ooh,
their team, and You know, I mean, every team in our league was good. You know, Lindenhurst was good back in those days. West Islip was good. Um, I want to say Half Hollow Hills. Is that yeah? Half Hollow
Yeah,
Hills.
yeah.
The,
There's a hill, there's a west and the east now. I don't know which one was which back then. If they just had one.
no, it was all one. It was
Yeah.
all one. Yeah, and but I tell you what, we knew each other well enough that we didn't really weren't concerned with who we were playing.
I love
We
it.
we knew if we played to our abilities and together, we would be able to compete, and that's exactly what we did. So junior year, we were very very good. Um,
How did that year end, if you don't mind me asking? How did that year end for the junior?
the junior year, oh sorry about that.
No problem.
Junior year, it ended um, in the quarterfinals of the Suffolk County playoffs. We lost to Sachem
Ooh,
by 2 points
oof.
on a well, I'm not going to go there, but it was
You can go
some
there. Was it
questionable.
questionable? Was it questionable, Kev?
Yeah, it was
It was
questionable.
questionable.
It, you know,
What happened? Right?
this
Give us the scenario.
there's
We gotta
calls.
know.
There's calls that if you're going to make them all game, that's fine.
Yeah.
But if you're going to wait till we're at the foul line shooting to take the lead at the end of the game, and somebody's foot is on the line or they're crossing the line or whatever they called,
Yeah.
that's with seconds left on the clock. Hey,
That's,
credit to Station,
yeah.
they deserved it. They were good, all respect.
Right.
Um, but I would have preferred the game ending, with the players deciding.
Understand. Understand. We don't have to go any further. Understand. Well, you're looking for a level of consistency throughout the game. This wasn't there before. Now it's there. So
Yeah, 100%.
I understand. Is Jeff Ruling on this Sachem team?
Yes, he is.
And was it Gravy? Was he on that team too?
Mark Graby, he was, and I believe John
That's a lot of
O'Brien,
heat. Yeah. Oof.
John O'Brien, another 6'9" kid, a 6'8" kid. Doug Poggi, another 6'8" kid.
Wait, so they have four of them?
Oh, they had a bunch of trees, man.
Yeah, that's a big team. That's one of the biggest teams in the history of Long Island. That's a big team. You got three or four guys over 6'8".
Yeah, and they were good, man. They
Mm.
they were tough. And Jeff, I know I'll talk about him a little later, but he was just, coming into his own. He realized at that point that he could do a lot of things, and Jeff could do more things than just post somebody up like he
Hmm.
used to beat people up in the NBA. He was able to do other things back in those days.
Skill man, a skill big man, and you're playing amongst Suffolk County was loaded. Long Island was loaded. What was the reputation of Long Island at this time? And then we'll talk about this senior year. What was the from your recollection, right? Was a lot of people going and playing in New York City, playing against New York City, or it was kind of just staying within your county or even Long Island? You mentioned going over to Roosevelt. Was that even the norm? What was the temperature like on Long Island for basketball overall?
Yeah, I mean the talent on Long Island back in those days. I see the polls that you put out. Which eras were the best.
Talk to me.
You know, I can solidly tell you we were one of the best.
Pat.
And what started to happen, we used to do a lot of North Carolina, not North Carolina. We used to do a lot of Nassau County stuff, um, and you started seeing players come to Suffolk County a little more to find some run,
Okay.
and that was an indication to us that we belonged. And not only that, we mentioned the summers. You know, I can proudly say Suffolk County, for the most part, when we ended up playing against the Nassau champs, we did very, very well. So
Oh,
the word got out.
word's getting out. Now, now you mentioned that you're one of nine, right? Your older brother is on the alternate team for the Olympics. You said your other older brother is probably the best all around athlete to come through there. Was you starting to think about playing basketball or even football, but you said mainly basketball at the next level? did you want to play in college? And if that was the case, was there any recruitment involved junior and senior year?
Yeah, I 100% wanted to play in college, expected to play in college, and was willing to do whatever I had to do to make that happen. Um, you know, going into the senior year, we'll talk about that at another point. There was a couple of um, things that I had to deal with relative to injuries and stuff like that. But yeah, I wanted to play college basketball in the worst way. Um, and see, I can proudly say that I had a skill that I knew somebody would want. And when I was being recruited, I was being talked to by a bunch of big time schools. Syracuse, I actually visited Syracuse,
Okay.
um, USC, and schools like that. But going into my senior year, I actually tore a ligament in my knee, and I missed most of my senior year at North Babylon.
Okay. Okay. This is heavy. Let's talk about that, if you don't mind. Let's talk about you going into the senior year because you are on the scene. You're one of the top shooters on Long Island. That's a very, very, very coveted skill going into stretch defense, especially people that's playing zone, you're a zone busting guy. You're having success. You also have a football background, so there's a level of toughness to him that's just automatically going to be folded in, and you
Right.
have success on that. What happened, and how did we end up, getting this injury?
Yeah. So just to back up for a second, we were so good my junior year that college scouts actually, started attending a lot of our practices. Um, so we got high visibility when that happened. So the first or second game my senior year was against Walt Whitman. Um,
Is this basketball or football now, Kev?
okay, you want me to talk football? Football senior year was great. I had a great time. I had. Um, I'm going to say what I believe, but I believe I led the county and Long Island with interceptions. Um, I actually sent you
How
uh,
many? How many? How many do we have?
my senior year. I believe the number was 14. I sent you two clips of the one each game. I
I
had
see.
three.
I see some articles there's some
Yeah.
receipts for this. 14. That might still be a Long Island record. That's a lot. That's a real no-fly zone. Why they keep throwing over there?
Well, I don't know, but I had 3 games with 3 interceptions.
Three games with three interceptions. That is crazy to me.
That was
Congratulations
fun
on
though.
that.
That was a lot of fun. I didn't have to do anything. Uh,
Absolutely, that's a lot of fun. If you intercepting like that, I mean, one interception for a person might be for their career. You had 3 games of three. So you're on the
yeah.
I mean, that's putting you on the radar for football. Did that even cross your mind, man? I might have to take a look at playing this at the next level, or that really just like I don't love it enough. Unmute it. Ah, I lost him. Hit the unmute button. Let me see. Unmute.
How about now?
Yeah, that's good. I,
Okay.
I asked you, was you ever, as you're cooking like this, like yeah, this is next level cooking. Did you entertain football? 'Cause I know they're gonna start looking at you. You're 6'3" DB. Like, hold on a second. Do you want to come play football at my school? Did you think about that?
I did. I did. I mean, I actually visited Temple University, Delaware, UMass for football, and that's back in the days where there was no limit on how many visits you could take.
Oh
Um,
man.
Openly and honestly, I visited Temple because I had some friends down there that I wanted to visit. But it, no, I knew I was not going to play football, but
Okay. Okay.
but but I enjoyed it. Had a great time. Played on some great teams. We were really good. Um, unfortunately, we couldn't beat Walt Whitman my senior year. They were great.
They were
Uh,
cooked.
but so basketball was my focus,
Okay.
and that's where my heart and energy was.
Let's talk about this situation in the beginning of the senior year.
So yeah, I hurt my knee, and I got to tell you, I feel really bad for my teammates. Well, I felt really bad for my teammates when that happened
Ah,
because I believed we I can say this boldly because some of the people listen will know where I'm coming from. We would have won. North Babylon would have won back-to-back county championships.
okay.
The next year with Stan and Carlton and Roger and everybody did was an indication of what I think could have happened had I not missed most of the year. And
Ah,
I came back actually one game before the playoffs started. So I did actually make it back for, I want to say, 4 games.
okay. So tell me about this. Like, we don't got to go into the details of the actual injury, but tell me about the rehabilitation process because we're talking about 1970s here, right? To where you know what I mean. The the sports performance and the physical therapy is not as important or as
Yeah.
it's not as notarized as it is now as it was then. What what was that like, the rehabilitation process? Because you're like, man, I let my team down. How is this going to, impact my current career and then my future? What's the thought process? Was you depressed? Was you down? Or you just say, man, this is my current situation and I got to fight through it?
Yeah, I was definitely depressed
Yeah.
and down,
Yeah.
um, but with strong family support, um, you have no choice but to say, hey, let's we are where we are. Let's figure out what we need to do to get back. And I was in a cast for a bunch of time, um, and I was lucky that it wasn't a full tear, which
Okay.
which was good. So all I needed was some time and had to deal with, how much I'd have to play with pain. So much so the coach Cavalier did not want me to attempt to try to come back. He was just that kind of guy looking out for my career. But as you can imagine, I insisted on giving it a shot. So, that's exactly what we did.
Let's talk about when you actually returned. I'm sure there was a standing ovation of some sort. I'm sure that there were probably inside of your mind, was you thinking about the injury or you just like, I'm just going to go out here and play? Because that's one of the biggest things to separate certain athletes is the mental aspect of going back, right? Not putting, I don't know if I can put the same pressure on there. You have some people that can just go right at it, and some people are tentative on putting the pressure on that knee. What was your thought process getting back on the floor in that same year coming off of that injury? Walk us through that.
So, I knew if I could play against my teammates in practice that the rest was going to be easy.
Okay.
They didn't take it easy on me, and
They don't care
yeah,
about that knee. If you out here, you getting cooked.
yeah, yeah, and so I practiced a little bit, and I saw I could do some things, and I was willing to give it a shot. I also had some motivation. Um, so I think it's probably a good time to bring this one up.
Please do.
I got, and most people don't know this, and I know my friend Tom is out there watching this. So Tom,
Talk to
you,
me.
you should put this in your next book. So I got some visitors during that time, and Glenn Vickers was one of them. And Glenn will tell you this story himself.
Okay.
You because we spent some time together playing in the Empire State Games, and we played in a couple of other, events together. So
Right.
we quietly were friendly, although we were each other's nemesis. Um, but Glenn came to visit me with Jim Valvano,
Ooh.
and he came on my home visit from Iona, and he tells the story that he went back to his teammates and told them, well, we don't have to worry about North Babylon because Kevin, no way he's playing in that cast.
Ah.
Yeah, but
Oh, that
little did,
motivation. That's bulletin board material for you.
yo, Glenn to tell. Oh yeah, you kidding me? So I that was some motivation right there, without a doubt.
So how that? So did we get a chance to play them?
Yeah, yeah, we did. So my first game back was against a team called Miller Place,
Miller Place, the
and
Panthers.
they had a kid by the last name I think was Austin, who
Okay.
was who, who was averaging upper 20s.
Yep.
Um, and Coach Cavalieri said, "Kevin, you got him." I said, "Whoa,
Hold on a
you know,
second. You see what happened. We see what I'm recovering from. Give me a lighter
yeah."
assignment to get back in.
But I had a lot of support from my teammates, and we did very well. We won pretty handily. Next game after that, I believe we played East Hampton. The Petrie brothers, Howard Wood, the other Wood brother. I mean, they were really, really, really good.
Team.
Um, yeah, they were solid. Um, and they were giving it to us the first half of the game. And we like we normally do, came together at the right time and ended up winning that semifinal game. And we went from that to the championship game against our nemesis, Babylon High School.
Oh yeah, we got to talk about this. So you're back in. You're back in. And if you're going to be honest with me, Kevin, what would you say out of 100% you was at this time?
Yeah,
Health wise, if we're going to be honest, what would you say you was at?
yeah. So I'm gonna be honest with you. If I stepped on that court to play, it doesn't matter what I was at.
Doesn't
You
matter.
know, bottom line, I decided to play with pain, without pain, whatever. So it doesn't matter. Um, as far as I'm concerned, I wanted to play, and we gave it a shot.
How did that game go? How did that? This is your senior year, right?
Yeah, it is.
What happened?
So the first thing that happened was we got up and I opened Newsday, and it had this big article on me and Glenn going to Iona together.
Okay, okay. Back up. Okay, so by this game, you already made the decision to go to Iona.
That's correct.
Okay, so let's put a pin in this actual game. How did we make the choice to go to Iona with Coach Valvano? I mean, that's a whole nother story that we're going to get into. What was the deciding factor for you to make that decision to go to Iona?
So I had a number of pretty big schools recruiting me. That makes everybody feel good when they say which school's recruiting you.
Yep.
But when I got hurt and I was in a cast, um, not sure I heard from them much at all after that.
That was going to be my question to you later on. They fell back. They
Those
fell.
schools did what I think most coaches would do. They were concerned that am I bringing in damaged goods or whatever,
Right.
uh, and they stopped recruiting me.
Okay.
And Coach Valvano never stopped. Tom Abado, Marco, those guys, they were there all the time. Now clearly Glenn was the number one recruit for Iona at that time, and he deserved it. Um, but as Coach Valvano came around, I asked him to do one thing for me, to schedule a lot of those teams that were recruiting me and walked away, because I wanted to play against them.
Hey, Coach, can you do me a favor once I come here? Schedule the teams. Here's 5 teams. Schedule them. I need to
No
play
doubt,
them before I leave here.
no doubt. And he did. He
And he
did.
did. He
He
said,
did.
say less. I got you.
Yeah. And then you know what?
That's awesome.
Glenn was a big part of me deciding to go to Iona. You know, back in those days, there was nobody as better than Glenn and had the accomplishments that Glenn had. Um, so it made me take a deep look into the school and what he was, you know, viewing about Iona that would have him decide to go to Iona. He was recruited by a ton of schools as
Yep.
well.
Yep.
And you know what? Strategically, he was in my ear quite a bit.
Yeah.
Um, and I had a lot of respect for him. So you know what? After a lot of those schools walked away, I said, you know what? Let's give this Iona thing a shot.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Awesome. Awesome. We got two big timers from Long Island amongst some more that came. That's another conversation a little bit down the line. But we got two big time guards from Long Island going to team up at Iona. Before y'all team up, y'all going to go against each other. And you open up the newspaper. I interrupted you. Please start back from there.
Yeah, yeah. So Glenn and Hamilton, and it was at the Nassau Coliseum, and
Oh, let's go.
yeah, and all that, and yeah, it was really good basketball. Um, my teammates did a great job against a very, very good Babylon team, obviously. Um, Carlton Hurdle held us down in the middle. I mean, all year long, he did a great job playing against all these trees, and he was only 6'7", 6'8" himself. He was just very dynamic with what he could do to help us stand. There's a reason they called him Silky Smooth, because he was smooth, man. He held us down. Roger Cyrus was so underrated as a point guard for us. He did a lot of great things for us. Just a real bulldog,
Yeah.
pardon the pun. And the guys coming off our bench, Rick Pagati and Andre Randall and others. So the bottom line was we were not afraid of Babylon. As a matter of fact, that summer in Smithtown Summer League, we beat Babylon in the finals, so we knew we could beat them.
Yeah, I knew y'all
And
could be there.
yeah, we knew we could beat them. But you know what? You got to go play the game.
Mm-hmm.
And they played really well to their strengths. Um, I had a decent game. I think I had 22.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think I had 22. Shot the ball really well. I think I shot like 8 for 9 or something like that. Who knows?
That's really well. That's acceptable.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, Babylon beat us, and they deserved the win. But I wish, if we could rewind time, I wish I could have done better for my teammates and not been hurt through most of the season. So
Yeah, yeah. You feel like that kind of y'all lost a little bit of y'all edge and y'all steam and your camaraderie by not being able to be out there, and then you was almost playing catch up when you got back out there. It was good enough to get you there, and y'all lost against a good team. So I mean, that's really a part of life. That's a part of sports. So salute to you for fighting back, because not everybody's even strong enough mentally, let alone physically, to even fight through that, right? And getting out of the depression. Like, nah, man, I can't just let it. I can't fold like this. And salute to Valvano and even Vickers to be, hey, listen, man, I would like to team up with this guy in college. I think we could do some special things for them to still be in the mix, even though you're injured, right? Those injuries back in that time, they're like, I don't know, man. It's this. He's in the cast. He's damaged, right? So salute to all of you guys being the bigger picture in that, man. So your senior year comes to a close. You lose to Babylon in the midst of their, what I mean, their run. Now you got to go to Iona. What's the thought process now? You know what I mean? What does that look like being a freshman at Iona?
yeah, so I owned this freshman class that year. There was another gentleman I'm gonna show some love to from Malvern named Charlie Miller. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know if people remember Charlie. Um, Charlie was 6'8", power forward, could really, really, really play. So we had a very strong freshman class. Um, I knew that I was going to have to work and come in and get the respect and the playing time that I thought I deserved. I can honestly tell you, Coach Alvano didn't promise me to start and all this other kind of stuff. He simply said, you have some skills that we need,
Okay.
um, and I knew that. So when I got there, right away, Glenn and I spent a lot of time together. Um, we were in the gym all the time,
That's
probably a little too much, and and it showed when we started playing against the upperclassmen and seniors.
Okay.
We really had it together. You know, Glenn did his thing, really strong with the basketball, could see the floor, and would do that pump fake, get you in the air and go to the foul line, the whole thing.
I'm hearing about
Um,
that. I'm hearing
but
about a lot of that in
yeah,
the
yeah,
league.
that's good. But what he did embrace was the fact that he had a partner on the wing that could help the overall cause for what we were trying to accomplish. So he was not reluctant to pass me the ball. As a matter of fact, he encouraged me to shoot the ball quite a bit. And you know what? That's a good thing when your future leader and your teammate and all that kind of stuff encourage you to do what you do best. So we did that, and we both started from day one at Iona.
Wow. That's kind of amazing, especially coming off the backs of the injury and also what Glenn Vick has seen in you, and then you guys being able to really take that opportunity as freshmen and run with it, man. That's pretty amazing to see. So run me through this Iona career, man. Like give me the peaks and valleys
Mm.
of this thing. I mean, being a student athlete is different. It's a different experience than just going to school, right? Y'all playing at Madison Square, y'all doing all of these different things from Iona. What's the vibe? Tell us.
The vibe at Iona was, how did we get these guys to come to Iona when they could have went so many other places? So the alumni and the fan support was off the charts from day one.
It was like, yo, I don't know how you did it. I
Yeah,
don't know exactly how you did it. I might not even want to know how you did it, but I'm
yeah.
glad you did, and we are here.
And it didn't hurt that as a freshman, Glenn and I had something to do with beating the all-powerful St. John's. So that said a little bit about, where the program was headed.
Yep.
Um, we had quite a bit of success. When I say we, I'm talking about me and Glenn as freshmen. He averaged, I want to say, almost 17 points a game as a freshman, and I averaged probably 11. And
Amazing.
that, for freshmen, that's not bad.
That's
And
all.
we're talking about freshman year playing at Kentucky, at all these other places, and not embarrassed to walk off the court saying we did what we had to do.
Amazing. It's amazing. It's amazing. And Valvano, for him to see the vision, you guys are a collection of good. The backcourt is from Long Island, right? And let's make no bones about it, especially at this time. NYC is going to dominate any type of headline when it comes to a player coming out of New York. So for you guys to be on the stage like that, and then, like you said, take down a St. John's, that's New York's team. It is NYC. So for you guys to be Long Island guards, I know that you guys took that very serious. Yeah, you guys took that very serious, and there was honor amongst you guys to be able to say, "Hey, man, we're going to hold each other down regardless of where we go in this country." So that's really cool.
And I would say another big element to it is, over time, the upperclassmen trusted these young freshmen
Hmm.
to do more. And both Glenn and I are confident guys, but when you score 30 in a game as a freshman, you feel like, well, wait a minute now, all that work we put in, is definitely going to pay off. So um, it was a good feeling to know we had the right kind of support that we needed.
Yes, yes, because you can have animosity amongst the upperclassmen. Hey, man, what are you guys doing? So even if you're doing well, there could be friction, right? This is my year, right? So for you guys to be able to, as you say, win over the upperclassmen, it shows a lot to your not only production but your character. What's the thought process coming from your family, right? You got a big family. They're like, man, look at my guys out here doing this thing on a big stage coming from this school that's making a name for themselves. What was their thought process going through this with you?
Yeah, my family was very proud, especially because we're close enough that they could come watch me play, lend all that support. And it was just a good feeling, especially for my mother and father. They didn't have to travel too far to enjoy, some of the successes. Um, and then my brothers and sisters, they're all over the country, and we ended up playing in a lot of places. I'll never forget playing at Georgetown in a big game, and my brother Steve, who lives down there, had a chance to come watch me put on a pretty good performance in that game. So it was proud moments.
That's awesome. I mean, that's awesome to hear, and like you said, be able to share it amongst the loved ones is a beautiful thing. Like you're really like a Cinderella story, right? Because I mean, this story is a big deal about the Iona, and most of you guys are a collection of Long Island players, and y'all playing against the who's of college basketball, beating them, competing against them. This is a big deal. This is a big deal on television now, nationally televised games,
Yeah.
in front of sold out arenas, and y'all
Yeah.
wasn't. So I think that's really awesome, and I think that this is a part of the rich history of Long Island. So again, we appreciate you sharing this part. What's the thought process moving through your college career? Is it something in your mind to play at the next level, or you just kind of really just staying in the moment? If that was the case, about when do you feel like that started to catch a fire inside you to play at the next level?
Yeah. So before I answer that question, let me just give a shout out to the other players from Long Island that came to Iona,
Please do.
because a lot like what Glenn enticed me to do, to come play with him. I think we had something to do with a lot of these players showing up. Um, Certainly Jeff Rulin. I mean, what a major victory that was for us. Um,
Be honest with me. Did you think you was going to get that guy?
you know what? We spent a lot of time together. Jeff, by the way, was one of those guys that used to come pick me up in his Duster to go play in some parks out in Nassau County. So we spent some time together even when we were still in high school. So we had a deeper relationship than most people know.
Yep.
So did I think we get Jeff? You know, it was hard to say. I mean, he could have went any place in the country he wanted to go.
That's my point. So I mean, you gotta be pretty persuasive in that relationship. Like, did you like, yo, we can get this guy, man. Like, I'm cool with him. He'll be a great piece, and whatever other business stuff is being talked about. Like, if we get him, that's going to transcend and put us at the next level. Did you believe that you get him? And then when you did get him, what's the thought process?
Well, I believe Jeff knew he wasn't going to play with some bums. I believe he knew,
Right.
you know, I played against Jeff 2 times a year in high school every year because they were
Yep.
in our league.
Yep.
Um, and Glenn, so I believe he thought semifinal. You know what? I'm going to play with some guy. I would be going to play with some guys that I know can play.
Yep.
Uh, and we were thrilled that he was willing to listen and want to be a part of what we felt we were getting started there. But back to the other guys for a second.
Please do. Please do.
One of your Amityville guys, Jeff Williams, JW,
Ah, yeah.
one of the most talented freshmen to come in and play at Iona. Very, very talented guy.
Very
Uh,
talented guy.
People may not remember the name Willie McCain. I mean, Willie at Longwood, I believe it was Longwood High School, he was scoring close to 30 a game.
Wow.
And so much so that he actually first went to University of Purdue and then transferred to Iona.
Okay.
Um, Mike Palmer, the story with Mike, St. Agnes, Wake Forest, back to Iona. Alex Middleton, just a great player, big bodyguard for us. Tim Richardson from West Babylon. Tim is a guy that any other team but Iona during those times, he would have been a major star. He was that good. But unfortunately, the timing of things and people ahead of him.
Too much
Um,
people ahead of him.
yeah, Kevin Vesey, 6'10" dude from Bayshore High School.
Yes.
Let me tell you something. Kevin was spectacular. I mean, he led our team in block shots every year he was there.
Glass and stuff.
I'm
Block
oh
party.
yeah, yeah. So let me just make it Brian Vickers, Glenn's brother, rest in peace. And I'm want to make sure I'm not forgetting anyone. But that alone should tell you the
This is
impact.
crazy. This is turning into an AAU team in college up in New Rochelle. we
Yeah,
we just bringing all of the big time guys from Long Island, and we're gonna go across the country and put our stamp on everything. What an
without a
amazing
doubt,
story!
without a doubt.
I'm not sure that we'll ever see anything like that again. I don't think we will.
Yeah. So then you asked me a question just now. I'm sorry. Ask that question again.
Which one did I ask?
I gave a shout out. You said,
Oh, I asked you about Jeff Rulin, and then
oh, Jeff.
then you said, man, you was cool with him, and then I was going towards going through. But before we do that, let's just talk about the whole thing where you got all these collection of guys. You got
Right.
a collection of guys. What's the vibe amongst you guys, and what's the thought process? Then I'll ask. I remember what I was going to ask you. I'll ask that after you kind of fill us in. You got a bunch of Long Island guys. This is almost like an Empire State team. This is an Empire game, and the Empire Games team from Long Island, but you're playing everybody across the nation. What is this even like? Like, this is kind of mind blowing.
Yeah, it should tell you something about the talent, I believe, on Long Island. You
Yes.
know, we're talking about guys that um, could have went many places, but chose to be more in a family type environment with players that they knew and that they trusted. Um, a really good feeling, I can tell you. We all got along. We all, wanted to play for each other. And we certainly knew that we could play against anyone. There was no fear. Oh, I'm playing against this guy from, Chicago or LA. It didn't matter.
Didn't that?
We had no fear in who we were playing against.
Wow. So, what were some of the best memories for you at that school? What was like that? What sticks out in your mind almost like right away?
Um, Man, there's so many.
Give me a
Uh,
couple. Give me a couple that just
I'm
run
gonna
them
throw you.
down.
I'm gonna throw you a curveball though.
Please do.
Uh, the number one memory for me is I actually met my wife of 44 years there. So
That's a
uh,
good curveball. That's a really good curveball. That's
yeah. So I'm grateful and thankful for that.
a blessing.
Um,
That's a
wouldn't have
blessing.
happened if I went to Syracuse. So um,
Right.
so from a basketball standpoint, we had many good memories. Um, the first year, by the way, that Glenn and I were at Iona for the NCAA tournament. However, we could not play because we had a scrimmage that somehow got reported as an exhibition or something like that.
Oh, one of these things.
Yeah, yeah. So they didn't allow us to go to the tournament.
Ooh,
Um, some of the
that,
positive thoughts I have
that's lame.
um, is certainly we played in a lot of big games. Uh,
Yes.
I feel very good that we all performed, very well in big games. Some of my best games are against the best teams in the country. Um,
Yeah.
and I relished that. I enjoyed that kind of competition. Um, we were a tight group. I would say that stands out most for me.
That's
You know,
awesome.
we cared about each other. We wanted to win. I'll tell you a story. You ready for this one?
I am
Um,
ready.
so Jeff was a freshman, and we used to have some very competitive practices,
I can imagine.
very competitive. And there was one practice that I thought Jeff was kind of taking it easy on, some of the big guys because he was abusing, whoever was playing against him at that time.
Yes, yes. Five-star guy.
So so I kind of stepped to him, and him and I had a fight.
Oh,
And yeah, yeah, for real. And,
okay.
and after it was all said and done, that same night we went to a party together, hugged it out, but we had that kind of relationship
Yes.
that, that we knew, we could push each other.
Yeah.
I said, hey man, don't take it easy on these dudes. You're gonna make them better by kicking their butt every day.
Every day.
And so I remember things like that as well.
Yeah, I mean that builds the camaraderie. It builds a lot. It's leadership qualities, right? Saying something that people are thinking, but going to the big guy, say, listen. So and then also him being able. So that's how you really start to do amazing things, is being able to handle that, having that healthy conflict and that accountability. Before,
Wasn't a very smart business decision of me to attack the 6'11" guy.
yeah, you got to go in there real strategically, because he's not a small guy. You got to go in there real strategically if you're going to get involved. So, yeah, you're a tough guy. Let's talk about Jim Valvano. Let's talk about Valvano. We understand what he became. What was his coaching style, right, at that time, and what type of personality was he? And then we'll move on.
First of all, he was young. He was maybe 9 years older than us. Um, it was like playing for your older brother.
Wow.
Uh, very cool. Could talk to him. Um, from a basketball standpoint, he let us play.
That's
Um,
a big deal. That's a big deal.
yeah, man, and it was he let us play.
That's a
You
big
know,
deal.
he let us exploit our strengths.
Yep.
Um, where he needed to coach us, hey, like throw the ball inside, and then you gotta throw it inside. Um, where I was hot, he said, get Ham the ball, get me the ball. When Glenn was doing his thing, whatever. Um, his style was we played up tempo for the most part, but with significant bigs and the presence that we have, we were not afraid to slow it down. Now, I'll tell you,
That's dope.
we played up tempo because a lot of teams, if you remember back in those days, there was no shot clock, there was no 3-point line.
Hmm.
We play against teams that wanted to hold the ball for 5 minutes against us.
How do you feel about stall ball? Y'all didn't play with the shot clock. What's your thoughts on that?
Uh, did not like it.
I don't like it one bit. I don't like it one bit. But so you guys was playing up tempo, so you can get these guys to. Yeah, I got to pass this ball, man.
Let's
Yeah,
go. Let's
y'all got
go.
to pass this ball. Y'all gonna get a shot, attempt, or we gonna get a steal. We're not letting y'all four corners us for the whole half.
Nah, man. And you know what? We were smart enough to know we had some really good bigs behind us, Jeff and Kevin Vesey, Ed Gooding,
Mhm.
Alex Miller, and we could gamble a little bit because they go inside, they go inside. And let's see what
Yeah,
happens.
let's see what happens. So you guys can be a little bit more, y'all can be more free safeties out there and gamble a bit more to get them to speed up.
Yeah, that's exactly.
And y'all got great guard play. I mean, y'all a well-rounded team, man. Y'all got great guard play. Y'all got wings. Y'all got a big time big, an NBA big. So y'all can. And that sounds fun. That sounds like a fun system to play in. That sounds like a fun environment to play in. So that's exactly what everybody's looking for a college basketball experience, man. So salute to you guys for even having that.
But I got to tell you though, to have that style, you really have to eliminate as much jealousy as you can. You know,
Absolutely.
you
Absolutely.
you're worried about how many points somebody has or how many shots somebody's taking, and we're winning. Um, to me, that's not the right.
How did that go? You got a lot of big guys. You got a lot of big time players in there, big time egos, man. How did that go amongst you guys, man? Was there friction? Looking at you say, hold up, man. I only had 10 this game, right? But you feel like, let's be honest. Was there some friction? You got a big personality. Glenn Vickers has a big personality. Rulin has a big personality. And y'all all are really good players. Y'all want to win, but y'all want to get y'all numbers. Did that ever come into play?
You know what? I would say what I liked most is we all had our roles. And the way we played, if you did your job, there was ample opportunity for everyone, to shine.
Yep.
Uh, you know, Glenn was great
Yeah.
at controlling tempo, running the show. So there's no reason for him to get mad if he passed me a ball and I make a shot.
Right.
First of all, he gets an assist, and
Right.
secondly, it's probably the right play.
Let me ask you a question, and I think this is an even better question. When it came down to crunch time, who was getting the shot? Right? You got three guys, and then you name some other guys that all had excellent high school careers, that have a lot of confidence in their ability. You said the practices was outrageous. Let me take the shot. Was it according to game, who's hot, like you said, or when it come down to winning time, you had the personality start to kick in?
Yeah, so I would say that's where coaching came in. We all wanted the shot.
Yeah, all wanted the
Um,
shot.
and I'll never forget this. We were playing down in Alabama. Yeah, University of Alabama, Birmingham, something like that. And I wasn't having a great game. I was in and out. Coach was taking me in and out, and I wasn't happy. But it was a close game. And I think he put me back in the game with maybe 15 seconds or something like that. And he drew up a play for me to get the shot. So that to me said it really wasn't about, so much how I felt. It was really more about was I ready to do my job.
That's all.
Yeah, and I made the
I
shot.
probably
So
and you
that
made the shot, but I'm sure that gave you even another level of respect for coach, that he took the emotion out. He took the emotion out of this. This is the best decision for us, and I trust you. So I
yeah,
think that after you hit that shot, it probably even had a little bit more respect for coach. Is that fair to say?
yeah, that's fair to say. And the big indicator for me was after hitting that shot, when your teammates are the first to you to, congratulate you for it, it wasn't about how much time you played that game. It was about, hey, we won.
We
You
got
know,
the dub, man. Let's go.
yeah. And I'll be honest with you, there's games where, a player, since we had such an open relationship for the most part, yeah, Glenn would come to me and say, hey, bro, let's look to do this a little bit more, or I'm gonna get into the paint a little bit more and do what he does best. And Gleb and Jeff would say, hey, you know, I'm open. I know they're double teaming me, but when you can throw it in, throw it in.
When you
And
see
and,
the
and
hand,
Alex,
when you see the hand, throw it to my hand. I don't care how many people around me, right?
yeah,
These are the type of, you guys are great players, and then you guys are confident players. So there has to be a balancing of the egos and the confidence. One basketball, right?
that's right.
So that's where the camaraderie comes into play for the accountability, individual to individual, and like you said, the coach to be able to say and interject and override. There's a delicate balance that comes with the sports, especially when you have a collection of talent like this. That fair
Yeah,
to say?
no, that's fair to say. About where you are as a group and as a team, and I thought we were, you know, on solid ground.
That's awesome. Y'all found that balance. It's a tightrope that you're looking at, right? It can be derailed with one ego going too far, right? And if y'all don't have enough ego and confidence wise, it can fall that way too, man. Oh man, like you pump faking out here, but you got to shoot. So that's sports. It's a delicate balance of being confident but overconfident or not confident enough. So
Yeah,
salute to you guys, man. Are we thinking about the next level at all, man? You're having a great career, right? You're having a great career. You're having great success from day one, and you're folding in more talent as you go. Expectations are like, man, well, I don't know what's going on at Iona, but they're a formidable player in the country, right? What's going on with even playing at the next level? You've been a basketball junkie since grade school. Talk to
hmm So I can honestly say, it's in the back of everyone's mind who
me.
plays the game. Did we think it was, realistic? First of all, back in those days, if you remember, mid majors didn't get that kind of pro love.
No, you did.
Um, but we started to get the love because we wanted to play everybody, and we did play everyone.
Y'all was essentially a major program. Y'all played as much major competition as you possibly could. You got to play your conference, but non-conference, y'all wanted all the smoke.
Well, we were actually independent.
Oh,
We
that was
weren't.
independent. Okay, okay, okay. Y'all didn't even have a conference.
No,
How
we
did
were
that work?
part of.
Now, how did that work? Sorry, how did that work for you guys getting into the tournament? Like, there's no
Yeah,
Yeah, tell me about that real quick.
we were part of what we were part of what's called the ECAC, which is the metropolitan area. So we had to play in the ECAC tournament, qualifying tournament. That's what we had to do.
That's
But
essentially a conference tournament.
yeah, yeah,
Essentially,
technically yes. But our schedule was basically pretty much independent. Now we played the Fordhams,
yeah.
Manhattan, St. John's for a while, um, and others. But we also, I mean, my first 7 games as a senior, Texas A&M was ranked number 10. Long Beach State was ranked number 9. Kentucky was ranked number 6. University of San Francisco the year before was undefeated. St. Mary's College, Wichita State, Georgia. I mean, come on. So
Heavy hit.
we played. Yeah, we played everyone.
And that's kind of the beauty of independent. But sometimes when you start to get a reputation, they're like, ah, we're not playing. We're not going. Sometimes you can start getting too good for your own good. So
Yeah.
like we're not playing those guys because. But that's amazing. This makes me very proud to hear this, that these collection of guys from Long Island, our area, which we like to celebrate, especially here on this page, was doing this across the country and was making waves out there. So your senior year, man, you playing against everybody. Ride out this senior year, man, and then we'll talk about the next step.
Yeah. So me personally and the team, we got off to a great start. Great Alaskan shootout. 3 of us made the all tournament team.
That's a
You
big
know,
deal.
Jeff was the MVP. First game against Texas A&M, they had, some players that were potential pros and all that kind of stuff, and lit them up, torched them up. Uh, Next game against Craig Hodges and Long Beach State. I mean, I know you know that name. Uh,
Absolutely.
I mean, that was probably one of Glenn's best games of the year. Put 28 on them or something like that.
Let's
Uh,
go.
Next game against Kentucky. It's really rewarding when you hear the Kentucky coaches talk about, well, we have to shut Hamilton down. That says to me that I think you arrived a little bit. Uh,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
and then beyond that, beating such ranked teams like Wichita State, they had a 7-footer by the name of Ozell Jones, and they had Cliff Livingston and
Ooh,
Anton Carr.
the Shockers.
Three, three pros. That's right, 3 pros on their team, and we put a spanking on them that you wouldn't believe. I mean,
At
Jeff.
Wichita State?
No, we actually played them here in New Rochelle in
Oh, they
Iona.
came out here? Ooh.
They wanted to play. They wanted to play who they thought was a ranked
I
team.
like I like what I'm hearing because a lot of these teams, I mean, Wichita State is still considered a mid-major, but they kind of slide to that bottom half of the high. They came out there and wanted to smoke, and y'all smoked them with
Yeah,
pros.
we put it on them pretty bad.
Let's
But
go.
that's what I'm saying. A lot of those big time programs, University of Detroit came to Iona to play. They had 3 pros in their team: Terry Tyler, John Long, and Terry Durod. And we would play anyone. And I think that became the hallmark of why Iona, became as successful as it is today.
That's amazing. That's an amazing story, man. So we're rounding off our career. We got NBA aspirations, right? At least to make money. Are you thinking overseas, if not NBA? Did that cross your mind? Was that even a thing at this time? You thinking? I think CBA, you got ABA. Like, are you thinking these things?
I was praying to get drafted by an ABA team because that league, in my opinion, fit my style, and it was exciting. But with the merger at the time, it was really about whatever team was interested in you. And I was fortunate enough that there were a number of teams interested. Um, and I got to tell you, the honor was really mine to be drafted by the Boston Celtics. I mean, Red
Hmm.
Auerbach, are you serious? I mean, And I know why it happened, but I was very excited that he saw that much in me to want to draft me.
That's a big deal. What's going through your mind when that happens? Because I mean, they don't just take anybody. They have a certain not only basketball player, but a mentality that they like to keep and uphold. What was your thought process when that? Did you work out for them? How'd that even come to be? Did you have any communication with them before this happened?
So I later found out, no, I didn't have any communication. I didn't work out for them.
Okay,
I'll tell you a funny story what Red told me about it, though.
please do.
Um, I I know Red was at our Georgetown game when I had 37 or something like that.
Oof.
Um, and no, I apologize. I think it was 32, but I shot 15 for 17 or something crazy like that.
This is crazy.
Um, and I know he was at the University of Pittsburgh game at the Nassau Coliseum when I had 37. And that game, I missed maybe 2 shots. I shot, another outrageous, 16 for whatever. I don't know. But what I think really happened, though, what I found out happened, John Thompson, the coach at Georgetown, Red Auerbach asked him about me. And, you know, it touches my heart to know that John Thompson, actually had a lot of respect for me. Now, yeah, I averaged over 30 points a game against him, but he had a lot of respect for my game. And he actually told Red that he thought I had, serious potential. So that meant a lot to me. But most importantly, I mean, the Boston. So I hated Boston, by the way. Um,
Yes, you
you
from
know,
New York.
of Knicks. Um, but yeah, it was a nice pleasure. So I asked Red, I said, we never spoke. You never worked me out. Why did you draft me? He said, son, don't you think if anyone else knew I was even interested in you, they would have taken you just for the hell of it? So it said a lot to me that's why this guy is successful as he is, and it was a great honor.
Yes, so he kept that close to his chest. Like, I'm not going to give any word because I really want this guy, and somebody will do it just out of spite.
Yeah, yeah.
So what's next, dude? Like, you got drafted by the Celtics, the premier between them and the Lakers, and of course a couple of other franchises. One of the flagships in pro basketball at the time in history. What is the thought process? What happens next?
Yeah, so things happened very quickly. First things I had to, sign with an agent, and I signed with Walt Frazier and Irwin Weiner. So um,
Wow.
Walt Frazier, and uh, that was cool. Um,
Yeah.
Walt,
That's
Walter, yeah, Walt's a good dude. Um, and then, I had to prepare myself to go up to rookie camp. Now, technology and personal trainers and all that other stuff was non-existent.
non-existent. What year is
So
this for those who don't know?
1980.
1980. Continue.
Yeah, so I did a lot of working out on my own. Wanted to make sure what I did well, I continued to do well, which is shoot the ball. I did a lot of push-ups because I expected, to go up against the big boys. Um, but surprisingly, when I got to rookie camp, it was a lot of faces of guys that I either played against or I knew.
Okay.
And man, I just had so much confidence. I knew, I suspected I was going to do well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I wasn't afraid. I wasn't intimidated.
Yep.
Um, I'll never forget the first time I met Larry Bird. Um, you look and dude walks into the gym. You're like, oh, that's Larry Bird,
Larry
and
Bird.
and then he practiced with us, and even before veterans came to camp, he showed up. And I got to tell you Larry Bird's story. We practiced twice a day, Merrimack College, and one time was outdoors. And we're doing these drills, and it's getting after the ball and all this other kind of stuff.
What?
and this dude slid on concrete to get a loose ball.
Larry Bird?
Larry Bird. And he's a white dude, so he got up, he was all scratched up, bleeding
Or
and stuff.
skint up?
And I'll never forget, a reporter asked me what I thought I needed to do to make the team. And I said, if Larry Bird's sliding on the floor to get a loose ball, I better be the best player I can be in warm-ups, whatever it takes. I don't care. And because it said a lot to me, man.
Yes.
That's a whole different level. He's
He
rookie of
doesn't
the
have
year or
to.
whatever,
He doesn't even have to do that.
but he did it,
And
and I
he
was
did it
like, wow,
outside. That's yes. Continue. That's different.
yeah.
That's
And
different.
I was with a very intense coach. My head coach was Bill Fitch, the legendary Bill
Bill
Fitch,
Fitch.
one of the winningest coaches in history. Didn't talk much, had a lot of scowl to his face, and you never really knew where you stood with him. But his assistant coaches was, I became very close to Casey Jones, great man, rest in peace, Casey. He's just a great guy. And Jimmy Rogers was the other guy. So they were good. When you made a mistake, Fitch would give you that glare, and Casey would come put his arm around me and, yeah, don't worry about it, Rook, that kind of stuff. So it was really rewarding to see. Now I knew why the Celtics were the organization they were, because top down, they just had this stuff together.
They had it together. So how did that end up finishing up for you?
So I got injured in rookie camp and really messed my elbow up, which required some wires and pins to be put in there, old school operations, not like today.
Yeah, right.
And I didn't know what my prognosis was going to be. It was kind of reconstruction. But what I did do, which is kind of interesting, is Red asked me to go to the Maine Lumberjacks and just be around. He knew I couldn't play, but just be around. And that said to me that he had some interest potentially if I could recover.
Yeah.
But that didn't happen, and the career ended, with an injury. So, but I tell you what,
Wow.
I wouldn't trade any of it for anything.
Wow.
It was just an honor to be drafted by probably one of the best sports programs in the world.
Yup.
To play with guys who are considered the best, and got to do something not a lot of people get a chance to do.
Absolutely. Remarkable for you to even be one of those very, very select few to even get the opportunity, right? You had an injury, changed the course of your career. Not much you can do about it, but you went out and you did everything that you possibly could. And this what makes you a legend for Long Island. Fast forward, and how do you feel like you used the game of basketball to kind of bring us through? Did you start doing any coaching, right? Did you start doing any training? How did you transition when the ball stopped bouncing for you?
Yeah, so I'll tell you, after about a month worth of crying, my father said to me, you did get a degree, right? And I said, yeah. He goes, well, what was your degree in? And I said, it was marketing and statistics. He said, well, let's get to work, bro.
Yes.
And, and I went to work for IBM after that, and
Yeah.
started a really great career in business world.
Heck,
And just I was very fortunate to have the support that I had. You
absolutely.
know, um, just to be able to move on, because sometimes you just can't let it go, and
Absolutely.
I didn't want to.
Especially when it's that abrupt. Especially when it's
Yeah,
up like that, man, and you're still on the peak of everything, and it's just like this injury kind of shame. That's really something that can kick you in the chest.
I'm tell you something that really rounded it out for me. 2 years later, okay, so I'm out of basketball and I'm working for IBM.
Yeah.
And I wish my wife was here because it's a funny story. I get a call from Marv Albert,
Mohawk.
and he says to me, the Knicks would like you to come try out.
Okay.
So I'm wondering, I said, where did this come from?
Where did this come from?
And little did I know that my father was very good friends with Cal Ramsey, and called Cal and said, you know what? Maybe the Knicks should give my son an opportunity to come try out again.
Give him a look.
Now, I didn't do it
You didn't do it?
because I didn't do it. Time passed. There's a million guards out there. I didn't want to be a practice player helping some young guy, make a name.
Right.
And I had a really good job, so
Right.
I decided not to do it.
Right. Right. But this is the type of stuff that goes on. These are the type of stories that go on through the game of basketball, and then it doesn't matter what type of career you had, the ball is going to stop bouncing, right? So there has to be some form of preparation for that. And it's not always an easy thing. It's not always the easy thing because everybody's story and experience can be different. But what's cool is being able to find the way to make that transition. Now, let me
Yeah.
ask, did you still, because basketball is one of those games that you can still be around and you can shoot around, you can play half court, you can play men's league. Did you still find a way to stay around the game with children, nieces, nephews, children in the area? Did you still find a way to be able to pour in from that aspect, whether it be coaching or training of some sort?
Well, 100%. I coached a little bit in high school, which is a funny story. Coached in college, I'll tell you a little bit about. But I have three sons,
Okay,
and,
talk about it. Let's go.
and all three were fantastic ball players in their own right.
Awesome.
All three played high school, college, and professionally.
Awesome.
And, and a lot of my attention was, to really help where I can help, show them the way as much as I can. My son, Kevin, my oldest, was an All-American at Holy Cross College, played at Archbishop Malloy. You know him, you played against him.
I know Kevin.
Yeah.
Salute to Kevin.
And currently, he is the head coach at Eagle Academy in Brooklyn, two-time New York City champion in the last 3 years. So, he's doing his thing. My son, Keith, was a very good ball player at Quincy High School in Queens. Went to University of Puerto Rico, had a good career, came back down to Rhode Island College and played over in Germany.
Awesome.
And my youngest, Kieran Hamilton, had the pleasure of playing for me as the head coach at NYIT, New York Institute of Technology.
Awesome.
I'm joking. I don't know how much of a pleasure it was, but
It depends on how we want to look at that.
yeah, but he had a great career. Got drafted to play in the Puerto Rican League, and currently is does personal training down in Miami.
Awesome.
In players, one of his is Kelsey Mitchell from the Indiana Fever,
Awesome.
who gives him a lot of credit for helping her improve.
That's awesome.
Now, coaching. So I was the freshman basketball coach at Holy Cross High School in Queens.
Queen.
I'm proud to say we were city champs, the only time in Holy Cross High School history for the freshmen. And that was fun, man. That was so rewarding. Back in those days,
That's
you
a
really,
tough league.
yeah, you really have their attention. They listen. If one person thinks they're better than you make them watch some of your game film, and it was just a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
And
How
then
do we get into that part, right? Going from IBM to getting like you're really on the sideline, just not even like you're just kind of helping out. What pulled you into that real quick?
So kind of back up a little bit. I also ran my own AAU program for like 13 years.
That's a big deal. Yeah, that's kind of a big piece to the puzzle.
Yeah, and that was very, very rewarding. Called the New York City Jaguars, and we were probably considered third or fourth best program in New York City, behind Riverside, the Gauchos, and the Lightning had some good programs.
Amazing.
but 250 plus players later that we helped get scholarships,
That's
I
amazing.
would say we did pretty well.
Congratulations.
Um,
What years was these from? What was the 13-year run? When did it start and end?
wow. I want to say 2000, maybe 2000 to 2013 or something like that.
Carry on.
Um,
That's awesome. That's
and,
amazing.
and I coached, and let me tell you something, I coached some very significant ball players. I coached some pros. And I coached guys that could have been pros as
Name
well.
names. Name a couple names.
So, a young man from Archbishop Malloy High School who was a starting center at Boston College, Yuka Agbai, played for the Indiana Pacers. Um, so don't be surprised with this one, but Joakim Noah is someone that for 2 years prior to him, heading down to first Lawrenceville, then Florida. And I coached Joakim Noah when he could shoot threes. That's how long ago it was.
Amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so,
knuckleball thing going on.
yeah. But I tell
Yeah,
you what, he can make them, man. He can
it was
make them.
going in. That's all that matters.
Yeah. And, my son Kevin played for 13 years overseas. He had a sniff in the pros with the Celtics. Um, and I coach a guy named Nick Rollins, who nobody will know of, who actually played at San Diego State and went to play on with the Clippers. Um, I coached some guys that, had the ball falling the right way, could have been pros.
That's awesome.
Um, and I coached guys like Tim Doyle,
Tim,
who, yeah, who, let me tell you, he was a very exciting dude to coach, man.
he's a
A
character.
lot of fun.
He's a fun guy. He's a character and a
Yeah,
high IQ basketball player.
no doubt, no doubt. So the biggest thing for me um, was trying to help kids get into school, use basketball as a lever to get an education.
That's
And if
amazing.
you're good, and if you're good enough, I used to tell them they'll find you. So that was a lot of fun.
That's amazing. That's amazing. That's amazing. So let's round this thing out, man. Because I think that's really that's a great segue into, you know what I mean, being able to educate the youth and, teach them all of the ins and outs of the basketball world that lead into life. So I think that's fascinating that you did that through the AAU circuit and had great success because that's not an easy road to navigate through. There's a lot of red tape, and for you to do it in NYC, especially at that time, is very, very admirable. So congratulations to you for that part of your journey. I'm going
Appreciate
to ask you, you're welcome. I'm going to ask you, what would you say was favorite your favorite moment when it comes to basketball?
it. Wow, that's a great question. And I tell you this, so you know, something will happen, or I'll see a name, or I'll get a phone call, and it bring up such a great memory. But a great memory for me was my father attending the NBA draft with me.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
That's
because
amazing.
you could look. I looked at my dad's face, and he didn't have to say a word.
Nah,
I just knew how proud he was.
that's amazing. That's an amazing moment for you for all of the journey to be able to get to the highest level and share that with your dad. That's an amazing. I can see that being your favorite. If you can change one thing, what would it be? If anything, I don't want to put that on you, but if you could, would there be anything that you would change?
Yeah, 100%. Um, I could have been a better college coach. Um, I had expectations of players that were unrealistic because of the way things are now. And I think there's so many influences. That's why I have a lot of respect for my oldest son. I'll just pause for a second. The way he coaches his program at Eagle Academy in Brooklyn, basketball is not what it's about. It's really about him and his coaching staff preparing these kids for the journey of life. And I have a lot of respect for that.
That's awesome.
Uh, I think I would have been a better college coach. And I did things that I know no one else could do at NYIT. Like I got him a game. We played UCLA. How's that?
Whoa.
Um, yeah,
That is special. That is like who?
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's special.
But I think I could have did a better job
Okay.
um, showing the bigger picture.
Yep. Yep.
So that's an honest assessment of that. Yeah, I wish I would have done a better job there.
I appreciate that honesty. What years was you at NYIT for those who don't know?
Um, wow. Let me see. It was
Ball, ballpark.
ballpark.
Was that early 90s, mid 90s? I mean,
No,
early
no,
2000s, mid 2000s?
2000,
Yeah.
2016, 17, and 18, I think.
Yep.
Something.
The game is starting to change. You know, you got the social media. It's a different generation. They grew up differently. So it's an adjustment for us all. It's an adjustment. So
Yeah, it's amazing.
it's an adjustment. So I can understand what you're saying. Now, this one I didn't prepare you for, and I want to apologize ahead of time.
That's all
However,
right.
however, you're very intelligent and understand basketball and understand the history of basketball. I would like to know your all-time five for North Babylon High School.
Yeah. So, now that's a great question. And if you notice, I mentioned some names ahead of time in anticipation of you asking that question.
Yes, yes.
But
And we're
but
sticking with five. You're not going to slide in the extra 6 man, 7 man. I need five players that you will put up against any other five from Long Island.
yeah, there were some great players
You
that
got
came
like
out. I mean, there were some great players in North Babylon. You know, I didn't even mention Danny Green. I mean, he's from North Babylon. So, you know, respect to him for what he's done because
yes,
he reps North Babylon very as strong as any of us.
yes.
So,
But we're going to count him as St. Mary's because that's where he finished up. He did
yeah,
most. But hometown is North Babylon 100%.
yeah. Wow, that's a great question. I I would say, wow, yeah. That's
Yes, I'm giving
that's a
you
tough,
said you like to smoke. I'm giving you some smoke to end with this thing.
yeah,
Yeah, somebody's going to be offended, and we're going to be okay with that.
yeah, yeah. Um, I'd say my brother Bob.
Okay, we got Bob.
Um, I would put my teammate Stan Wilcox there.
Yes, he went to Notre Dame. That's a big time pick. Okay, so we got your brother Bob. We got Stan Wilcox. We got three other spots.
You know, uh, Jerry Hartz was a very good player too. I mean, wow.
You got a
That,
lot. You probably got a good. You got to go 30, 30. You got to go
give me
30.
10.
So,
Let me have 10. Let me have 10. I can
absolutely.
give.
Uh-huh.
I give.
All right, so we'll take the 10, and then you got to take five from the 10.
Yeah. So Ray Brown, Billy Morris from the old school. I mean, they beat Mitch Kupchak and Jamie Franklin. Come on. Um, they were great. Um, Carlton Hurdle was one of the most underappreciated players in Long Island basketball for what he did for North Babylon. He, wow, I have so much respect for Carlton, playing against all those giants and holding it down. Um, he's just a great player. So Carlton is one of them, definitely. Um, I mean, Bobby Brown was great. Corey Easley was great. You got to have Russell Pierre, Derek Brower.
We naming
Um,
names now. We
yeah,
naming some names. Jason Brower. You got names. Now I need
yeah,
five of those. Yeah, I gave you that extra. Now we need five of those names to go on the court. You can add yourself if you like, or you can just stand on the side and be a coach. We need five before we get out of here. Let's do it.
yeah. Out of respect for others, I'm not going to add myself. If
That's
somebody wants to put me in that category, good for them. Yeah. So, wow.
You're doing a lot of blinking. I'm putting you on the spot. You
Yeah.
said you like to smoke. You told
It's
me
really,
earlier you like to smoke, so you got some.
yeah.
I need player number one. Give me player number one. We getting 5.
All right. Player number one. Well, let me go by position. All right.
However you want to do it. We just need 5 of them.
I'll take Jerry Hart's
Okay, Jerry
and
Hart's.
Dan Wilcox in the
Dan
backcourt.
Wilcox. That's your backcourt right there.
Yeah. I will take at center. Wow. I don't think people know who Ray Brown is, but Ray Brown was an incredible player. He was along the lines, I'll use a name that you're going to know. He was a Henry Holiday type player.
Okay. All
All
right.
right.
We going with that?
Yeah, I'm going to put Ray there.
Okay, that's 3 plays. You got 2 more spots.
At forward. I know I'm missing some people, man. I mean, Derek Brower had a great career.
Yes, he did.
Derek had a great career. I'll put Derek there.
Oh, you got 1 more spot.
One more spot.
Ooh.
It's a tough one. I would put myself just so they could have a shooter, but I'm not going to do
You got 1 more spot.
that. Yeah. Oh wow, that's a great question.
It's
So
a great
one more
question.
spot.
It's a
Yeah,
great
yeah.
question.
I'm gonna give it to you. I'm gonna take the smoke. I'm gonna give it to you. So man, I'm blinking.
Hey, you say you don't like stall ball. We stalling crazy right now.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. Yeah, so I'll take a guy by the name of Billy Morris.
All right, so that's our 5. No, that's our 5. Okay, we have Harts, Wilcox. Who we have at the 3? Ray Brown. You said Ray Brown.
The Ray Brown center.
Okay, you have Ray Brown as the center. You
Billy
got
Morris power forward,
and Derek Bravo.
and Derek can play wherever he wants.
Okay, so we're gonna so are we gonna stamp this? We're gonna leave off Pierre. We're gonna leave off Jason Bravo. We're gonna leave off Bobby Brown. We stamping this?
No, we're not stamping it because I could change tomorrow, man. No, Bobby
Because,
and Jason and all those other guys, man, they were great. They were great.
okay. All right, so we're gonna put a star next to this.
Yeah, please.
Let's put a star. Let's put a star next to this, man. We might circle back with this on a comment on the page. But we left off Russell Wilkie Pierre, New York State Player of the Year. Woo!
Yeah, Russ could play, man, and I'm close to Russ. I have a lot of respect for him.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean,
That's what makes this game cool, man. Y'all have a lot of talent to come from that town that had a lot of individual success and team success. That's what makes it fun. So you were one of them. You were one of them. You could easily be on that team, and I'm sure other people will put you on that team. But when we talk about guards from your era, your name always comes up. And not only in high school, but in college. But now hearing the backstory with you having to persevere through the injuries and playing football at such a high level and having to face that adversity of coming back from the injury, we got to salute you. I want to make sure that you get your flowers while you're here to do so and just recognize you for being the Long Island legend that you are. I really appreciate you.
hey, Tristan, I want to thank you and this site and what you're doing to represent Long Island basketball is incredible. And for those of us who are fans of the game, fans of the players that we've played against and seen, and the future, I think, is bright for Long Island basketball as well. We thank you. I get so many calls and comments and text messages, and it's just a real joy to see that what you're doing is allowing people to express how they feel about players like myself. So thank you.
No, you're very welcome. That was one of the visions of this platform. and for us to be able to celebrate, educate, because we're learning. And I think that any historian or person that's interested in the game of basketball, and for this particular page, Long Island basketball, it's really cool to learn. And you see names that you remember and heard
Yeah.
about, and names that you never heard about, and say, wow, this is really cool. And then you get to see them be men and women in society doing a lot of different things. So I think that this is an amazing opportunity for us to network and be able to do some things in real time, which we will have some things. We're lining up some pretty cool things to bring into real life, and there'll be some announcements on those things pretty soon. But it gives us the opportunity and the platform to share. And this is what this is about. So I thank you for sharing this with me and with us.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. And thank you to all those people out there that are following this. It keeps Long Island basketball alive. And without a doubt, we're very proud of what we've done. And I think the future is bright. So let's help these young folks as best we can to continue the legacy.
I agree. Before we leave, let's give this younger generation, let's drop a gem. Let's give them a word of advice that they can carry with them.
Well, I'll tell you, and I've learned this firsthand. There are many events in life that dictate your happiness, that dictate what type of person you're going to be to others. And most importantly, there are things that can happen for you in life that give you that longevity of peace. And I would say to any ball players out there, stay focused on your academics, because when basketball's over, you have something to fall back on. Be as coachable and as reputable as a person as you can be, because that'll take you a long, long way, far beyond basketball. And then the last thing is, really treat people the way that you like to be treated. And I think that that's, something that can help us all be better people. I try to remind myself every day, but at least those three things can give these young folks a really good start, um, and prosper the way they're capable of.
I really appreciate it. Those three gems right there are transferable life skills, as I like to say, because
Yeah.
that you can have on court as well as off the court. So that's the beauty. And even said that your son is implementing that at Eagle Academy, is those
Hmm.
transferable life skills. So that's what I hear from that. And I think that's very valuable to the youth right now. And not only to the youth, but us as adults. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's something that we should be learning and striving to do each day. So I really appreciate you. To a Long Island legend, I want to salute you and give you your flowers once again. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And I'm going to make sure I give you guys a shout out my next ESPN broadcast.
Absolutely. We really appreciate that. We're going to keep building. I'll hit you up offline till our next time. I appreciate you.
Thank you so much, man.
Have a great night.
All right. You too. Take
Thank you
care.
for everybody for tapping in with us. Take care.